Hello and welcome back to my OOTP 19 series here with the Kansas City Royals. We are in the first full off season. As you can see, we definitely finished a lot worse in the second half. Ended up 63 and 99, so we were 39 games out of the division. Now, the positive about this is that we're actually going to have the third overall draft pick next year. So that's very exciting. Hopefully we can get, if not a superstar, a solid stud. Obviously, there's a big difference between the number 1 overall pick and the number 3 overall pick. But last year we had the 18th pick. So a big step up there. One thing I just wanted to mention that was kind of shocking is the Minnesota Twins won the AL Central with 102 wins. That's incredible. And the Indians did not make the playoffs. And then also the Nationals were 69 and 93. So everything else kind of shaped up the way you'd expect. But those two things, I just kind of boggled my mind and thought were funny. I know a lot of people are probably also going to ask, how did Shohei Ohtani do? So let's take a look at his stats. Pitching-wise, had a 4.20 ERA. Really pitched a full season, which is not what the Angels are going to do to him this year. I probably expect 20, 25 starts out of him, maybe closer to 25. And then hitting, he hit in 100 games. Did not do too well. He was below replacement level player, but at the same time, he wasn't, absolutely awful for a 23-year-old rookie who's got more potential. That's not too bad. But definitely in real life, I expect better numbers overall. I don't think he'll play as much, though. And then just to show off the playoffs as well, you can see that it was a very boring World Series. Astros beat the Dodgers yet again. That could very well happen in real life, although the Dodgers have started off terribly, at least so far this season. But the ALCS was interesting. The Twins made it to the semifinals, and the Mets almost beat out the Dodgers. It went to a 7th game. So that's pretty cool. But anyway, let's jump to our team because, of course, that is the most important thing. You can see this year things were pretty interesting for us. If we take a look at our starting rotation, Blake Snell did not do too well after coming over to the Kansas City Royals. So I won't really say that's concerning, but definitely disappointing. The story of the year, though, was Brian Johnson. As you can see, finished the year with a 3.49 ERA. Did not pitch many innings per start, but he has a lot of stamina, so that's kind of confusing. But yeah, he had a 3.5 ERA. Taking a look at the WHIP, I don't really expect him to continue this necessarily, but I mean, if he can have an ERA in the 4s, that would be great because, I mean, he's super cheap. In the bullpen, Bobby Pointer was amazing. Really high strikeout per 9 innings, didn't walk many people, so yeah, I mean, he might be for real. He certainly was better than Herrera was for us this year, which is great to see. I mean, really great to see. Cody Reed, I forget where we got him in a trade, but we did get him in a trade. Let's see, who did we trade for him? Chesler Cuthbert, yeah, so really gave up nothing for him, but he was awful. Just terrible. I mean, a whip of 1.81, so that was very, very bad. And kind of a similar story with Ian Gibaut, who we also got in the Blake Snell trade. But yeah, ERA of 7, so hopefully he can improve that next year, although the peripherals say that he was really that bad. Offensively, though, some good stories. Alex Gordon definitely turned it around. He is not an offensive force, but his defense was good enough where he was an above-average player. I think Moustakas and Duda are not going to come back next year. They weren't that great, even though, technically speaking, they were our second and third best hitters, which is pretty sad. I called up some people at the end of the year during September call-ups. Reese McGuire, because we really had no other catching options anyway. He started for the month and did, whatever. I mean, he was a rookie. It's fine. And then we also called up Nicky Lopez, who started off awful, but ended up finishing, the year as kind of a replacement level shortstop. He did really well in AAA. We had taken a look at this guy just at the very beginning of the year. I don't think I touched on him last episode. But yeah, did really well in AAA this past year, so that's very exciting to see. And then lastly, that I'll touch on is Bradley Zimmer. He hit 188, but he was still about replacement level, so that just shows you how good the defense really is. Hopefully next year he can step up offensively and, give us something to work with. And if we just take a look at the batting stats, you can see we were not very good, 13th in runs scored. And in terms of runs allowed, we were 15th. So we were really bad. We were very, very bad. So if we take a look at our draft history as well, this kind of shows you some of the prospects we just took. Vinny Tosi still only a 2-star potential, but like I said, I think the stars are kind of wonky this year. He did very, very well in rookie ball at the age of 18, and I really like these ratings that are here. I have no idea why he's only given 2-star potential, to be honest. Nicky Hansen did not have a great start, but a lot of these other guys did pretty well in their limited time in rookie and A-ball. Not necessarily Schilling, he was pretty awful, but Lucas Krull, who was a pitcher that we drafted in the 3rd round, you can see he did pretty well. That whip was pretty high, so I don't know how sustainable that is, but I also like the ratings that I am seeing from him. And lastly, let's just, in terms of prospects, I just wanted to show you this 2 guys, Gigliotti, who I think was already in our system, but I wasn't really aware of him. He is certainly looking like a stud. Really, really, really good outfield range, good speed, good bat as well, and he tore it up in A-ball last year. He should not have been playing in A-ball. But yeah, he's already been called up to AA, so he'll be playing in AA next year. I could totally see him breaking the majors even sometime next year, even if it's just September call-ups. And then Gene Cavajal as well. Looks like a very, very good player. I don't know where he came from either because I was not aware of him. But yeah, you can see in rookie ball did very well. He's only 17, so definitely a guy to keep an eye on. So with that said, let's take a look at salary arbitration. We're going to bring Carnes back. He was not very good in the majors, but I do think we're going to need some arms next year because we've got some people on the long-term DL. If we take a look here, we've got Ian Kennedy, torn labrum. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. Justin Grimm, torn flexor tendon. So those are just 2 arms where I think we're going to need someone. So that's why we're going to be bringing Carnes back. But Brian Flynn and Justin Grimm are gone. Jesse Hahn, I actually had offered him money. I don't know why it went away. Yeah, I'm just going to offer him $800,000 because he won't negotiate with us. But I forgot, actually, I can go into here and give these people contracts so that we don't actually have to go all the way to an arbitration judge. All right, so we have offered contracts to the people who we can offer contracts to. A lot of people don't want to negotiate, so those will go to arbitration, I assume. So the other thing is who we want to try and get draft pick compensation for. So for those who don't know, if we offer a 1-year, $15 million deal to any of these guys and they sign with another team, we get a 1st-round draft pick in the next year. However, obviously they can also just accept the $15 million offer, and then we'd have to pay them $15 million and we wouldn't get a draft pick. So none of these guys are obvious, like, oh yeah, we should submit a qualifying offer to them, especially Moustakas. He's an interesting case because he was expected to make a lot of money last offseason and then totally did not. He ended up just signing with the Royals a 1-year, $6.5 million deal. Right now, he seems to hate the Royals, so I don't think that he would accept the 1-year, $15 million deal. And then the only other guy that I would think about is Lucas Duda, but I think that's just too risky. So, again, Duda and Moustakas both aren't talking to us, so it's hard to know what kind of contract they would or would not accept. Okay, so wow, I almost forgot something really important. I was really worried. With Jason Hamill, we actually have a team option here, so we can void this last contract year. We almost had to pick up that option because I just kind of forgot about that. And then another thing of note is just to say that our owner says he's happy with me, but he's unhappy with each individual goal. So I don't really know how that works, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. We also have a $100 million budget this year. So you can see we've got about $30 million for extensions, which is nice. All right, so also just wanted to go over some of the awards from this year. So as you can see, Cody Bellinger won the MVP in the NL. He hit 54 home runs. That is pretty cool. Kershaw came in second, and you can see everyone else there. Stanton won it in the American League. He had 56. I think that could really happen, even though he's had a slow start so far. You can see Correa and Lindor finished in second and third. Kershaw won the NL Cy Young. Chris Sale won the AL Cy Young. Ohtani did win the Rookie of the Year award in the American League. We did not win any Silver Sluggers, but I did see that in terms of Gold Gloves, yep, you can see that Alex Gordon did win, and I think he probably deserves that. Even though he was a below-average offensive player, he was an above-average overall player just because of the defense alone. So that is pretty cool to see. All right, so some good news and some bad news. The good news is that Mike Moustakas, I had offered a qualifying offer to him, and he declined it, and he is now a free agent. So if he signs with another team, I think it's before March something, maybe February something, we will get a first-round pick out of that. So that's great. We also won 2 arbitration hearings. And because we have a lot of money, you can see that we've got $35 million for free agents, which is great. I was kind of thinking of doing one of those deals where you go to a team that's got an aging veteran and you kind of take that money off their hands, but you also get a prospect in the deal. So I was looking around at the Yankees. I don't think the Dodgers need that, but I was looking at the Dodgers and just the Mariners with Cano. No one really seems to want to do that, so I don't know if the game really has that kind of built into it, but no one really seemed interested. This is a kind of once-in-a-lifetime free agent class, which is a little unfortunate because we're not looking to compete. But oh well. In terms of what we are looking for this year, again, even though we're 63 and 99, and we're clearly rebuilding, I don't think I really care to tank. There's just so many teams that are tanking right now. When you look at the Marlins and the White Sox and the Tigers, I mean, there's literally 3 teams tanking in our division. So I'd like to be in a position, hopefully, where like if everything went well, we could potentially compete for a wild card spot. And I think that's probably unrealistic, but to even be in that category, we would definitely need another starting pitcher. I wouldn't mind another relief pitcher, but then when it comes to the bats, I would say that we need some sort of big bat. They don't need to play the field, but when you have Andrew Applin as your DH, I mean, that's just kind of silly. So we're going to try to at least address that need, get some sort of bat. And then I feel like, other than that, if anyone jumps out at us, we could really take a player at any position, except maybe shortstop. But we definitely need a pitcher and a hitter. All right, so we've offered some contracts here. As you can see, we've spent a good amount of our money if these people sign. But there wasn't a whole lot, at least to me, in terms of really a middle class of free agents. There's a ton of premier free agents as we take a look here. Bryce Harper, Clayton Kershaw, we've got Andrew Miller, Kimbrel. These are all people, though, that are demanding quite a bit of money. Might offer $4 million to Betances, actually. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it just kind of falls off pretty quickly from really premier free agents to people who I just wouldn't really be interested in signing. But if we take a look at our pending offers, just some people that, might be okay with a bat. Cabrera, we offered $1.5 million. Adam Jones, we offered kind of a semi 2-year deal. 1 year is guaranteed at $7.5 million. I think he would be an okay DH option. Same with Jose Abreu. This was an actual 2-year deal, though. I think that he would be, again, just better than what we have. Just get some, veteran bats in our lineup. And then one thing that I thought was really cool was this Daozi Chua. He is an international free agent, but yeah, he's only asking for about $7.5 million, and he seems like a decent starting pitcher. So I think it definitely makes sense to offer him some money. And then, like I said, just offered Betances a 2-year, $4 million per year deal. And then I offered a contract to this Hanser Alberto, just a minor league contract, because I think that avoid K rating and contact rating is very interesting. Now, I don't know. I don't think I'd sign Adam Jones and Jose Abreu, so I'm just going to keep a look at them, and once one of them signs, hopefully they both don't sign the same day. If they do, whatever. All right, so we are back for one of my favorite days here in OOTP. It is the Rule 5 draft. Sorry if you can hear my heater going off in the background. So far, we have signed two free agents, Melky Cabrera and Adam Jones. Because we signed Adam Jones, I have taken away our offer to Jose Abreu. But anyway, at least we get some sort of a bat. I am not playing in challenges mode this year, and one of the reasons is that it's so hard to figure out which of your players is on the Rule 5 draft and who's not. So if anyone gets picked, I'm just going to force a trade for $1 or something. It's just easier than having to go through and look at all my minor league team names. But anyway, let's go to the Rule 5 draft here. As you can see, we have the third pick, which means in the first-year player draft, we will also have the third overall pick. So let's see if there's anyone we want here. Yeah, I like the look of this DeSantos guy. So the only thing about the Rule 5 draft is that if you do select someone, they have to stay on your major league club for the entirety of the season. So that's just something to keep in mind with all these guys. So there might be some people who kind of go oh, that's interesting. But if you're not going to have them on the major league club, you got to really think about that. So we do very much need a third baseman. I did offer Nunez a contract, so hopefully he signs and we could stick him at third base. However, another thing that we could do is sign someone in the Rule 5 draft like this guy Lugo. OSA doesn't like him as much, but the potential ratings are still kind of there. And last year in AA did pretty well. I mean, not great. So I think I'm going to select this Dawel Lugo. So I actually do see this Hanser Alberto. He's a member of our team, so I'm just going to place him on the 40-man roster. That's going to do it for the Rule 5 draft, at least for us. Let's just sim to the end of it. Yeah, sometimes you get really lucky with that, but I did not really see anyone this year. So two pieces of big news here. First is that we did sign Eduardo Nunez. I think it was to a 1-year, $3 million deal. And also, Moustakas just signed with the White Sox for 6 years and $11.5 million per year. I think that's a big difference between me and just how the other teams think. I would just never pay someone like Moustakas that much money, but teams just kind of look and say, wow, he had 30 home runs, but that's not really the whole picture. So anyway, the fans are upset, whatever. All right, so we are here at spring training. We got a couple of things to look at. First is that we were able to sign all of the free agents that we were going after. So we got this Daozi Chua to a multi-year deal. I think he'll be a solid number 2 starter for us. Really, he's kind of a number 3 or number 4 guy, but only paying him, I think it's $8.9 million for 2 years, so I think that's a great deal. We also got Dylan Betances for 2 years at $4 million per year, which, I mean, that's a steal. So those were kind of, no-brainers. We also got Adam Lind, 1-year deal, Adam Jones to 1-year deal. Everything's very cheap. So I do think it'll be worth, the money that we're giving up just so that we're at least somewhat competitive. Even if it's just winning 75, 80 games, I don't really want to win 63 next year as well. One other thing I noticed, which I thought was kind of funny, is Blake Snell had sent a message that was give to charity if you can. So we decided to do that because he's kind of our franchise pitcher. And I don't know if this is a coincidence, but when I tried to offer him an extension, now he wants to sign for really not that much money. So I think I'm going to do this. He offered this to me. This is not something I constructed. So you've got 2 team options at the end of this. So I'm trying to think. He'll be 26 this year, so 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, and then 33 and 34 are team options. It's only $11 million, and this is going to be the beginning of arbitration for him anyway, so he's going to be making this amount of money. So I am absolutely going to submit this contract. I wouldn't say that he's our ace franchise pitcher, but I mean, this guy should be pretty good as a number 2, number 3 starter for a while. So really happy that we can do that. And the other thing just to keep an eye on is when I was trying to offer extensions to some of our other players, I noticed a lot of them really do not like our manager, Oliver Attridge. You can see good relationship. There's like 5 or 6, and everybody else hates him. So I think we might be firing him. And another reason I say that too is like we were doing pretty well, and then we hired Attridge, and then we sucked. So, all right. So before we start the season, this is just kind of the last part of the episode. I just wanted to go over a couple things. So first, we're gonna have a max pitch count. This is to protect people like Blake Snell. I'm just gonna set it at 93. You can also do this as an individual player strategy. So for certain people, if you click on someone and then you just go to set game strategy. Obviously, Reese McGuire is a hitter, but if you do this for a pitcher, you can set a pitch count limit for an individual player as well, which is pretty cool. All right, so just to end off the episode, we are here in spring training. Just wanted to let you know that Blake Snell signed that contract extension. So now we have him for quite a while through the 2027 season if we want, and for very, very cheap. So that is really, really great. And then the other major update is taking a look at the personnel. You can see we've gotten kind of all new guys. Joe Girardi is going to be our manager. I definitely do not, overall agree with all of his stances on what to do with the lineups and everything, but he has a really good relationship with the players. So that's kind of what was most important to me, and he should help with the development. That does not look like Joe Girardi at all. And then just got new bench coaches, hitting coaches, pitching coaches, so kind of new for everyone. Also just wanted to take a look at the preseason predictions. You can see that we are expected to be 70 and 92. We do have Dylan Betances as a top 10 pitcher, no top 10 hitters though. So that's going to do it for this episode. I will see you guys at the first year player draft, and thanks for watching.